Welcome to Central Avenue. I'm Carol Montgomery.
And I'm Don Jacks. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of Central Avenue, we'll look at Rocky Flats' transition from nuclear weapons production to environmental restoration, waste management, and economic development.
We'll be taking a close look at the future employment picture.
We'll examine impacts on the local business community.
Finally, we'll look at plans for economic development of the Rocky Flats plant site.
Rocky Flats has begun the transition process. A formal plan was submitted to Congress on July 31st. Much of the plan focuses on the work required to prepare buildings at Rocky Flats for eventual decontamination and decommissioning.
To bring a building down to that ready state requires doing various characterizations on the facility so we understand exactly the condition of the facility as it sits today, and then doing various cleanouts of nuclear materials, of chemicals, of contaminated areas that need to be cleaned up, and then doing inventories and surveillances to assure that the building is ready for that decommissioning and decontamination state.
For the purposes of transition planning, buildings at the plant have been grouped into 5 categories. Buildings in Category 1 have been used for plutonium production in the past and are being declared surplus. These buildings will be prepared for decontamination and decommissioning. Category 2 buildings are used for non-plutonium production and are expected to be declared surplus in the near future. These are prime candidates for economic development. Category 3 includes waste management facilities. These will be maintained to support transition and environmental restoration activities. Category 4 facilities are required for general plant support and plutonium recovery and storage. These will also be kept to support transition and environmental restoration. Category 5 buildings will be prepared for decontamination and decommissioning, and then retained for production contingency until plans for reconfiguration of the weapons complex are finalized. One of the most challenging transition efforts will be consolidating the plant's nuclear materials.
We're talking about plutonium, and that plutonium is in various stages. Some of it is parts, some of it are castings, some of it is oxide. So there's various different types of material that needs to be packaged up and transferred from one facility over to 371.
The transition will not be accomplished overnight. While non-plutonium buildings could be transitioned in as little as 3 or 4 years, buildings that once housed plutonium operations could take 10 to 20 years to complete. One final note, the transition plan addresses only the process of preparing facilities for D&D. Plans for the actual decontamination and decommissioning effort will be developed in the future.
Workers are naturally concerned about the impact transition will have on employment at Rocky Flats. Fortunately, there's good news, at least for the next year. Mike Schrader has the story.
The current transition plan calls for fewer employees in the coming years. That means layoffs, and workers are concerned about their future.
Very concerned. I think we're secure for the next year and that the layoff picture's been resolved, but nobody knows really what the future holds at this point.
They're telling us in Wackenhut anyway that we're here just for the duration of the cleanup, but nobody knows how long the cleanup is going to last. So I think we're all just a little bit feeling the instability.
It's going to hurt me really bad. I just bought a house and have a 8-month-old baby, so it's going to be hard to find another job equivalent to this.
While the long-term forecast does call for reductions of nearly 2,000 jobs at Rocky Flats, the short-term picture has improved. Employment levels are expected to remain about the same through September of next year.
I think for 1993, we're pretty stable. We do our planning on a fiscal year basis. We have a pretty good understanding of how much money we'll have, and of course it is the money that we get that drives the employment. So I think we have a pretty good handle, and I think things are going to be pretty stable for 1993.
Looking beyond next year is more difficult, but one thing seems certain. There will be fewer jobs to go around.
Well, in the next 3 or 4 years, our plans are to reduce the population of the plant by probably 1,500 to 2,000 people.
For most of this kind of work, there's a tremendous emphasis on the planning and engineering. So I think at the beginning, we'll see a lot of perhaps extra people in the technical, engineering, scientific skills. and maybe reduction in the labor skills. But of course, then the next part of that is the implementation, and that should just reverse what we're seeing at the start. You should see more of the labor skills, and you'll see those early technical talents probably go away.
Steps are being taken to lessen the impact of a future layoff. Rocky Flats has formed a labor management council to address employee concerns and provide assistance to workers.
We're interested in discussing with them one-on-one or as a group, what would you like to do if you were to leave Rocky Flats? What is your career goal? And how can we best assist you in meeting that career goal? And that's the whole objective of the Labor Management Council.
The council has identified peer displacement advisors, or PDAs, to assist employees and help them to get information and services they may need in the event of a layoff.
We're not just going to abandon these people. We're going to try to help them find new jobs or retrain them to do work on the plant site.
It seems clear that EG&G will be reducing its workforce. Approximately 6,700 EG&G employees now work at the plant. That number will be down to around 5,000 by 1995. For Central Avenue, this is Mike Schrader.
If you'd like to know more about the services offered by the Labor Management Council or the Peer Displacement Advisors, contact the Rocky Flats Human Resources Department at 966-2726.
Workers aren't the only ones affected by transition. Local businesses can expect to feel the pinch as well. Linda Otto has this story.
Rocky Flats has a big impact on the local economy, and a major layoff at the plant could spell trouble for local businesses.
We're seeing a general decline in our business because of everything else going on in the economy, and Rocky Flats, being the largest employer in the area, would only enhance that to a large degree in a negative sense.
We had planned on hiring 5 to 15 people over a 2 or 3 year period, and we are not going to be able to do that now. It means quite a bit to us.
Most Rocky Flats employees live right here in local communities. That's also where the biggest financial impacts will be.
Rocky Flats employees contribute to the tax base, they contribute to the economy. An estimated 5% of the economy of Jefferson County comes directly from the paychecks of Rocky Flats workers. That's a big chunk.
We keep a lot of businesses alive, and if we don't work with the communities and pursue some redevelopment of this site or some commercialization of some of our facilities, I think it's going to be very significant.
The Rocky Flats Local Impacts Initiative is working with the Department of Energy, EG&G, labor unions, and community leaders to help all stakeholders prepare for transition.
When we identify areas where there isn't information or there isn't a program, then we hope to be the catalyst to form those programs or develop those programs and provide the information as we develop it.
The initiative also sponsors public meetings to get information out to the communities and give citizens an active role in determining the plant's future.
All of our meetings are public. Anyone interested can attend a meeting to understand what's going on. Given the number of people we have involved, the number of organizations, the communities and so forth, we're all at the table. And I think that the initiative could be very valuable in helping to determine what the future long-term use of the site is.
The initiative is interested in hearing from all members of the community, including employees and their families, with questions or ideas about the transition. For more information, contact the Rocky Flats Local Impacts Initiative.
To contact the initiative, call 940-6090. They'll be happy to answer your questions or refer you to someone who can.
For more than 40 years, Rocky Flats has developed the sophisticated skills and technology required to manufacture nuclear weapons components. Now those same capabilities may be used for non-defense applications through economic development.
The Department of Energy is hoping to attract private businesses to Rocky Flats. The plan seems to be a perfect fit, providing jobs for plant workers while encouraging new businesses to locate in the Denver area. Earlier this year, Secretary of Energy James Watkins opened an economic development office to oversee the effort.
We're looking for industries that might come in and benefit the plant and benefit the community in the long run.
From private industry or government agencies or even educational schools, colleges, universities, maybe others, that there could be some terrific opportunities for high-tech work, fabricating, laboratory kinds of work, or even demonstration kinds of projects.
Facilities targeted for economic development were used for non-nuclear production and, in many cases, contain sophisticated, high-tech manufacturing equipment. The buildings themselves are a valuable resource, especially in a market where industrial space is hard to come by.
Available buildings at the present time, not only in the Denver metropolitan area, but certainly in Jefferson County, are at a premium. We have very few industrial buildings available.
Buildings and equipment are certainly attractive to companies considering a move to Rocky Flats, but the bigger drawing card is the highly skilled Rocky Flats workforce.
2 or 3 of the businesses that have come into us, that's been their first concern. Can we have access to your workers if we come out here?
The availability of workers at Rocky Flats is something that the national site location consultants are aware of, and in some cases we have had companies that have come in, have asked about number of workers, type of skills available, etc., so that they could look at possibly utilizing those workers as part of their relocation package.
Economic development at Rocky Flats does have its challenges. The plant is a Superfund site, and support from state and federal agencies will be needed before new businesses can move in.
A great challenge to us is to get all of the technical issues resolved among ourselves and other entities like EPA or the state, so that a company coming in here is fully knowledgeable that they are not responsible for past history and that the site is okay and won't burden them in the future.
Interestingly enough, the response has been overwhelming. As a matter of fact, we can't keep up with the people that are expressing interest.
The future of economic development at Rocky Flats does look promising. In fact, the Department of Energy already has 4 companies interested in moving their business to Rocky Flats. For Central Avenue, this is Mike Schrader.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Central Avenue. We hope you found the information helpful.
As you know, the situation at the plant is continuing to change. We'll try to keep you informed of any new developments. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.